also a 4-star demon spirit. Lynn is relieved after seeing that Elizabeth has control over her magic power level. On the other hand, the horseman says that Elizabeth is truly amazing, worthy of being the princess of the kingdom. With her joining, their chances of getting the treasure will greatly increase. Little girl Annie asks the horseman how they can go to that treasure dungeon. Lynn also thinks that this is his second time going out and he encountered such a good thing. He can learn from them. The horseman asks one of his wives to tell them how they will go to the treasure dungeon. His wife says okay and retrieves a scroll from her bag. She throws the scroll in the air and it starts glowing. This is a teleportation scroll. With this, they can teleport directly to the treasure dungeon. After using the teleportation scroll, they teleport into the dungeon. After seeing this, Lynn is really surprised. He says that he is dizzy from the teleportation. Little girl Annie gets scared after seeing an unknown aura from the dungeon. But Elizabeth does not give a care about the dungeon. She's already faced more dangerous things than this dungeon. The horsemen come everyone and said, "Let's not delay, let's go into the treasure dungeon." After seeing this, Elizabeth says that she doesn't want to go and asks Lynn to "let's go home." Upon hearing these words from Elizabeth, the horseman and his wives are really surprised. One of the girls asks Elizabeth, what is she playing at? She came here and changed her mind at the last minute. Is she messing with them? Another two also ask if does she know how many crystals and magic power it takes to make that teleportation scroll. If she doesn't go in, don't think about leaving here either. After hearing this, Elizabeth gets angry and asks them if they have the power. Why don't they try to stop her? Lynn comes forward and asks everyone to, don't be impulsive, and listen to him for a moment. Lynn has an idea. And in the next moment, he starts begging Elizabeth saying that since she came here so just take in Lynn to see it. Annie asks Elizabeth if she also notice, inside the cave, there is a magic power that is very similar to Elizabeth. After hearing Annie's words, Lynn thought, a magic power that is very similar to Elizabeth's? What does she mean? He doesn't get what Annie is actually saying. The horseman comes forward, pushes Leping, and asks Elizabeth that she has to trust him. No matter what danger she encounters inside, he will protect her. He said, please go in with me, Princess Elizabeth. Elizabeth doesn't care about him. She asks Lynn to follow her, mentioning that she'll play with him since he rarely comes out. Lynn starts following Elizabeth without saying a word. After seeing this, the horseman grits his teeth in frustration. They start entering the dungeon one by one. Annie is really surprised after entering the dungeon for the first time. Once inside, Lynn notices the dungeon barrier closing. He asks if they can't go back the way they came. Elizabeth explains that in this special magic space, it's impossible to leave by transfer magic unless they are stronger than the person who set up the barrier. Unless they find the target location and meet the requirements of the barrier setter, none of them can leave. After some time, they reach the main entrance of the dungeon. One of the girls says that as long as they have the master horseman with them, they will definitely get that thing. Another girl whispers, questioning what they will do if they know about that thing. Annie overhears their conversation and asks Sister Gelia what they mean by that thing. Elf girl Gelia ignores Annie's question and mentions that it's gold coins and treasure. She reassures Annie that they won't be left out. On the other hand, Leping asks about the forks in front of them and wonders where they should go. With Elizabeth backing them up, Leping thinks it's no problem. The adventure officially begins. The cat girl asks the horsemen which way they should go, and if they need to split up. The horseman says they don't have to split up for the time being and asks one of the girls to use that move. The pink-haired girl agrees, and uses her magic wand to find the right route to the treasure. She tells Elizabeth that she'll find the shortest route to the treasure in no time. Elizabeth smiles and remarks that she is just ignorant and doesn't know how big the world is. After some time, the pink-haired girl shows that there are many treasure boxes. But she also reveals that there are monsters in this dungeon, and all the monsters are at the boss level. After finding that much, her mana drains out, and she can't explore more. After some time, the horseman asks the pink-haired girl about the situation in the maze and if she explored it till the end. The pink-haired girl replies that this maze seems to have no end. She has extended her magic to the limit and has not found any trace of the edge. After hearing this, other two girls are really surprised. They say, no way, Glee's magic extension concentrated distance is 3 kilometers long. They suggest using spirit divination, but it has an accuracy rate of only 34%. However, they're not 100% sure. the cat girl suggests splitting up and acting in groups, with the ability to use the clone technique for support. Lin turns his head to Elizabeth and asks, "Elizabeth, do you actually know how to go, right?" Elizabeth smiles and says, "Of course, this maze is just an illusion. These ignorant youngsters will never get out if they want to explore the end." Then Lin asks her, why doesn't she lend a hand? They can also repay them a favor as soon as possible. Elizabeth nods her head and says no. She tells Lin that she has changed her mind now. She just wants to watch them perish with him. After some time, we see many tunnels, and one of them is the right tunnel. If they find the right direction, they can reach the treasure without any problems. Little girl Annie suggests that by going through the third cave, they should be able to reach the destination. After hearing Annie's words, Lin gets really excited and asks how she knew that. Little girl Annie says that she's just guessing. She doesn't know the correct tunnel. She also mentions that a special magic is coming from that direction. The pink-haired girl says to Annie that she's speaking nonsense and questions why she didn't feel the magic Annie mentioned. She insults her and says a mere 4-star mage should not make random comments here. After hearing the cold words from the pink-haired girl, Annie gets scared and asks for forgiveness. The pink-haired girl says that they haven't explored the bottom, and according to known exploration, the last passage has the least monsters. She said, "Master, we should go this way." After hearing the pink-haired girl's words, the horseman asks the cat girl what she thinks. She says that she still thinks it's better to act in small teams so they can explore faster. Another girl says that she thinks it's better to listen to Glee, the pink-haired girl. Even if they go wrong in the end, they can just go back together. The pink-haired girl asks the horseman to trust her. She will scout them safely to the treasure. The horseman thought about it and said they'd act together in the last cave. After hearing the horseman's words, Annie shouted loudly, saying they could go anywhere else but not the last cave. She started casting her puppet magic and summoned a cute little rabbit doll. She asked her rabbit doll to go to the last tunnel, and in the next moment, a huge monster came out from the tunnel and ate the rabbit doll, leaving only its head. After witnessing this horrible scene, Lin's whole body was shaking with fear. He asked everyone, "What is that thing?" Elizabeth replied, "That is a parasitic beast, usually found in the bodies of huge monsters." The cat girl asked the pink-haired girl if the explored area was the corpse in its stomach. After that, the pink-haired girl was really angry at Annie because she exposed her. After some time, Elizabeth said to let them struggle here by themselves and asked Lin to go. Lin scratched his head and asked Elizabeth if it would be best if she could lead the way. They don't know what danger is waiting for them, and Elizabeth and Lin started heading to the tunnel. Little girl Annie asked them if that direction is right and asked them to wait for her. In the next moment, the cat girl asked his master, the horseman, if she should use a clone to follow them and collect information. The horseman told the cat girl that they don't need to. He thought that Elizabeth, having seen the horror of the mimic worm, wouldn't be able to make such a calm choice without confidence. It seems that Elizabeth's background is not so simple. The horseman told his wives that they would go and follow them for the time being, and they started following Elizabeth. On the other side, deep in the dungeon, we saw a huge glowing monster eye. Monsters start attacking on the them. They begin fighting with the monster. The horseman asks his wife if they have solved it there. The warrior girl says that they have killed all remaining monsters, but the monsters on this road keep coming in waves, and they never stop. On the other side, Leping and little girl Annie are hiding behind Elizabeth. Leping asks Elizabeth if it's safe now, and if there are any monsters remaining. Elizabeth turns her head to Lin, visibly angry, and tells him that he is a truly terrible actor. The pink-haired girl says to Annie that it's all her fault, pointing out the road she led them to, which is full of monsters along the way. She also mentions that if they had taken her advice, they would have already found the treasure. Elizabeth defends little Annie, saying to the pink-haired girl that the more concentrated the magic, the more monsters naturally gather. She emphasizes that the pink-haired girl should know this as a mage. After hearing this from Elizabeth, the pink-haired girl gets really frustrated. She says that she knows that Elizabeth is a 4-star demon spirit with the ability to defeat the monsters, but she stands by and watches coldly. She also claims that Elizabeth is despicable and doesn't care about anyone. Elizabeth replies that this is their problem and what they agreed upon before leaving, to solve the monsters they encounter. The horseman steps forward and asks the pink-haired girl to calm down, reminding her that they promised to protect them. Hearing this, the pink-haired girl gets even angrier. The horseman turns his head to Elizabeth and says with a nice smile that it's okay. It's his honor to escort Miss Elizabeth. After hearing their conversation, the pink-haired girl is really angry, thinking that Elizabeth not only embarrassed her, but also dared to seduce the master. The elf girl suggests to the horseman that they rest for a while, emphasizing the need to recover their energy after fighting with monsters for so long. Elizabeth doesn't agree with their idea, stating that she doesn't have extra time to waste on them. The cat girl is frustrated with Elizabeth, asking why, if she's so good, she doesn't just go on by herself. The elf girl agrees, pointing out that if it weren't for them blocking all kinds of monsters, they wouldn't be so relaxed. The horseman steps forward and urges Elizabeth to listen, suggesting that it's better for everyone to rest and recover some energy. He offers some elf potion, explaining that after drinking it, they can recover their status. Lynn, curious about the potion, asks Elizabeth if he can try it, making a cute little puppy face, and suggesting it might give him some new inspiration for his cooking. Elizabeth thinks that Lynn has already enjoyed many good things, and wants to experience something ordinary. She gives him permission, and later, they set up their camp to get some rest. The pink-haired girl praises Galia's elf potion, mentioning that it really works, and the warrior girl states that she has finally recovered, though she's unsure how long it will take to find the treasure. The elf girl retrieves a potion from her storage ring and offers it to Elizabeth, calling it her special elf potion that enhances various states. Elizabeth, being powerful, declines, but the horseman intervenes, telling the elf girl not to be rude and instructing her to give a potion to everyone. Unhappily, she tosses a potion to Elizabeth, who catches it but isn't pleased. Elizabeth gives the potion to Lynn, who after tasting it, finds the grassy flavor too strong and decides not to drink it. He offers it to Annie, who thanks him but explains that she hasn't used much magic power so she doesn't need it. After hearing Lynn's criticism of his potion, the elf girl expresses displeasure, deeming it a waste on someone with no magic power. Elizabeth, not pleased with the elf girl's words, dumps the potion into the fire, further infuriating her. She questions Elizabeth about dumping her elf potion, to which Elizabeth coldly responds that she agrees with the elf girl's thoughts, showing no regard for the potions. Lynn intervenes, calming everyone down and stating that he has something for everyone that shouldn't be crushed. He retrieves bananas from his bag, expressing his desire to share them. Lynn gives a banana to the horseman and distributes bananas to everyone. Finally, he gives an apple to Annie, mentioning that the bananas have all been divided and asking if she can eat an apple. Annie gets emotional after receiving the apple. She asks if he's really giving it to her, surprising Lynn, who thought it was just an apple, and sees no need for tears. Annie asks Lynn if she can take the apple back to her brother and sister. The orphans in the orphanage haven't eaten fresh fruit for a long time. After hearing Annie's story, Lynn understands why she is crying. He tells her that, of course she can take it back, and he'll pick some more for her when he gets home to send over. Lynn promises Annie that everyone in the orphanage can eat fresh fruit. The pink-haired girl throws the banana that Leping gave her, saying she doesn't care about this rotten fruit and doesn't need it. The elf girl also agrees, stating that it can't be compared with her elf potion. The horseman suggests they fill their stomachs for now, and when they get the treasure, he'll treat them to something good. They start eating bananas, and after the first bite, they feel something strange. Their bodies start glowing, and in the next moment, they find themselves in the forest. They ask what place it is, and suddenly, 3 mantises appear and start singing. They ask the group to dance with them, and all 3 of them start dancing. Lynn is confused, not knowing what they are doing. This is the effect of the banana. The pink-haired girl and elf girl, who didn't eat the banana, are really surprised. The elf girl asks the horseman what he's doing. In the next moment after eating bananas, the horseman and his wives level up, and they don't understand what's going on. Their magic levels are constantly rising. After seeing their dance performance, Lynn is surprised. He claps and calls it a bonfire performance, expressing his genuine liking for it. Lynn also mentions that the cultural customs of the other world are really interesting, making it worth coming out to see centaurs dancing. Elizabeth, observing Lynn's happiness, thinks that Lynn is aware of the potential danger ahead, enhanced them in advance to continue this game. On the other hand, the elf girl, who didn't eat the banana, is puzzled and asks what's going on. She wonders how their magic levels suddenly skyrocketed so much. Seeing their surprise, Annie explains that it's because they ate Brother Lynn's bananas. However, the pink-haired girl doesn't believe Annie's words. She dismisses it, stating it's nonsense and questioning if those broken bananas are soaked in holy water to provide a status boost. The warrior girl says to the pink-haired girl, Gilia, that it was the banana that made them break through and advance. She mentions ascending to a 2-star demon spirit just a few seconds after eating the banana. The cat girl agrees, stating that just after they ate the banana, they entered a new realm. She wonders if the banana was enchanted by a magician of the demon sovereign level. The horseman adds that after eating, even he broke through 3 stages in a row, directly ascending to a 3-star great demon spirit, finding it unbelievable. He asks Lin about the origin of the bananas he gave them. On the other side, Lin is really confused. He doesn't understand the horseman's words. For Lin, these bananas are just ordinary. Getting this reaction from Lin, the horseman asks what's wrong. Lin says nothing, mentioning that being suddenly asked by him. He doesn't know how to answer, because they are just ordinary bananas. The horseman is not pleased with Lin's words, thinking it should be a hybrid crop that Lin grew with some magic item. Lin clarifies that he grew these bananas with natural and organic farming, a production method he thought of in this world full of magic. Hearing about the magical banana from their master, the pink-haired girl and the elf girl decide to eat it to increase their magic levels. After taking a bite, the banana rots, and the pink-haired girl throws it away, saying it's clearly bad. After seeing this, little Annie says it's synchronicity. Elizabeth praises her for knowing what synchronicity is. Annie mentions that she learned it from the magic books. At the same time, the horseman asks Annie what synchronicity means. Annie explains that the nuns' magic books mention special treasures usually have to be used under special conditions to exert their effects. She guesses that Lei Ping's banana had to be eaten by 3 or more people at the same time to produce an effect. Upon hearing this, the pink-haired girl gets angry at Annie, questioning why she pretends to know things she doesn't. She points out that Elizabeth ate the banana herself, and hers didn't rot. Annie apologizes, admitting she doesn't know either but suggests that unless the user's strength completely surpasses the treasure, it's nothing but an ordinary thing to them. On the other side, Elizabeth eats her banana without any problems and warns Annie not to look at her with those eyes. Annie apologizes, and the elf girl suggests that maybe it's because of his accumulated elf potion over time that produced the effect. The horseman asks Lin if he can share more fruits from his backpack to test if it's real. The elf girl questions if the horseman actually believes their nonsense about the magical banana. Lin happily says that sharing is the greatest joy and starts getting more fruits from his bag. Meanwhile, Elizabeth has already finished eating his banana. She snatches Lin's bag and declares that these are what she's going to eat later. She refuses to give her precious fruits to anyone and tells Lin to leave when they've rested enough because the journey is almost over. Lin apologizes to the horseman and says he will treat him well when he has the chance.